So, my name is Kumar Sunuwar. I belong to Sunuwar Indigenous Peoples of Nepal. Sunuwar is one of the 59 indigenous nationalities legally recognized by Government of Nepal. I am also the chairperson of Indigenous Television, the only multilingual television of Nepal, and Asia program coordinator of cultural survival. Firstly, on the occasion of International Biodiversity Day, which is observed on May 22nd, I would like to extend or say a very happy International Biodiversity Day for all Indigenous brothers and sisters around the globe. And observation of such international day is very important in order to raise awareness and understanding related to biodiversity and its relation with the indigenous peoples. And this year's the theme of International Biodiversity Day is from agreement to action, build back biodiversity. And this theme is very relevant to indigenous peoples because indigenous peoples around the globe are living in the forest or nearby the forest, balancing with the nature. And when we talk about the indigenous peoples of Nepal, still some of the indigenous peoples are living in the forest or nearby the forest. Balancing with the nature, obviously, and they are no doubt are the guardians of not only the forest but biodiversity as well. Therefore, it is also said that the indigenous peoples are the custodians of the biodiversity, and the statistics shows that 80% of the biodiversities which are remaining in the land or territories or the forest of the indigenous peoples, which have been protected by the indigenous peoples around the globe. Therefore, observation of such International Biodiversity Day is very important for indigenous peoples. When we talk about the indigenous peoples of Nepal, as I said, they are still living in the forest, and the forest which once were protected, managed by indigenous peoples, have been converted into national parks, wildlife reserves, hunting reserves, conservation areas or buffer zones, without making consent with the indigenous peoples, without fulfilling free, prior and informed consent. And despite there was objections from the indigenous communities to the government, almost 25% of the forest land areas today have been converted into the protected areas. Therefore, indigenous peoples or indigenous rights defenders who are protecting their rights or their communities' rights have been unprotected themselves. So, observation of such International Day actually helps not only build awareness and understanding the issues related with biodiversity and the indigenous peoples, but also to bring into highlights of the challenges faced by the indigenous communities to the international communities. And as I am a journalist running indigenous-led media, what I can say is indigenous-led media has more role to bring such issues into the wider context. Therefore, on the occasion of such International Biodiversity Day, once again, I would like to call upon international brothers and sisters to observe with the fullest. And because this International Biodiversity Day is very important in order to highlight our issues, so that world community can hear our challenges and the voice. So once again, I would like to say very happy International Biodiversity Day. Thank you. See you.